joining us this afternoon. Their skipper Karlos Carrasco tuning in or joining us from Mission. Raul Ortiz from Hidalgo, Daniel Espinoza from San Marcos, and Oscar Noguera coming from Reynosa. So all these guys at one point played at for the Hidalgo Pirates. And guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us, Kevin.
Definitely. Guys, we're just gonna get started. With what has been going on these last couple months. We've seen the restrictions being loosened up a little bit. We've seen teams being able to go out and practice. You guys were able to go out to the stores and kind of get back to a little sense of normalcy. But what was it like going through quarantine and just kind of taking in the new norm? Coach, we'll start with you.
It was kind of tough for us. This year in baseball season, we're supposed to have a pretty good year going into the season. When they put a stop to it, we had played one district game. At that point, UIL seemed like we're gonna have a chance. Our baseball organization, BCA, RGV, we kept in close contact, and it seemed like we were gonna get back on track. First, it went from a week, then 2 weeks, and then it's extended to May 5th, which gave us some time to think about it. So pretty much what we were doing our district was we were trying to just get some kind of plan in case we did go back to playing the season and possibly get into the playoffs. And then it was kind of heartbreaking. I think the hardest part for me was calling every kid one at a time and explaining them the season. I mean, they couldn't believe it. Again, our expectations this year were pretty high going into district play. And for me, that was the toughest part, explaining to the kids. And I mean, some kids broke down, and just explaining it to them was very hard in my case.
And I think the hard part was the waiting part of it, because there was so much uncertainty, and we all kind of had it in the back of our minds that there's a strong possibility there will be no season, but we all had that hope. I think the final blow was that dose of reality when they announced that the season was officially canceled for the high school years, or for the high schoolers, that is. Oscar, you were playing college ball when all this happened. What was that like for you guys, and where were you at when you heard that the news that your season would be canceled?
Well, we're right in the middle of the season, and we were just about to head to Louisiana. Played a series over the weekend, and it was, I don't know, it just came from out of nowhere. We were actually on the way to the game, and the coach stopped the bus, and we started hearing about the first NHL and then MLB spring training, all of that. And then he talked to us and told us that the NAIA they were gonna stop the season for three weeks, but we were still gonna play that series that weekend. So we're like, okay, 3 weeks, that's fine. But yeah, and then after the series was over, we head back home, and then we got a call from the school. We got an email from the school saying that the school was canceled for the rest of the month, and it was barely like the 2nd of March. So yeah, it came out of nowhere. It was unexpected, and we were having a good season. We were having a good season, and it was just unexpected. We didn't, at least from my part, I didn't expect that to happen for the season just to stop there.
And you're a senior, so this affects you in a big way. As far as your eligibility goes, what's your plan there?
Well, right now, as of right now, we can go back for another year, but with me getting my degree, that's a decision I'm still trying to process with my parents, with my family, and I'm still in the process of that. So we'll see.
And Daniel and Raul, you guys, on the flip side of it, how have you guys handled this past month of having to work from home, or if you guys were considered essential, going to work and coming back? Raul, we'll start with you.
Oh, when it all started, I wasn't really doing much. Like I was working, but it wasn't an essential work. So when it all started, it all shut down. Like I wasn't doing anything no more. But I mean, it took a toll because I mean, like the money and all that, like it wasn't coming in. And we got to pay bills and stuff. But I mean, we got through it, and so we're finally working again. So I mean, it was kind of hard at the moment, but we got through it.
Definitely. Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, I was working at a clinic at that time when it happened. I think I got 2 weeks off because they were trying to see how patients going in and out. I work as a PT tech, so it took a toll. I mean, I didn't know what was going to happen. It was pretty much a serious job. So good thing. I mean, I have grateful workers and coworkers and a good boss. So money wise, gratefully, it was all good. But I mean, I feel for all the people that had to. I mean, they got laid off and stuff like that. So I can see the big toll that it took on others. But it's been going good. Things are starting to pick back up, and it's starting to look pretty good right now.
And Coach, today is June 8th, and today the UIL allowed programs to have their strength and conditioning, obviously with the restrictions.
Yes, sir.
Did you go out this morning, or what was Hidalgo's plan?
No, as of right now for Hidalgo, they've still held back on us. They didn't let us show up June 8th. We had to come up with a plan. So last week we went in and we had to come up with a plan to show our superintendent, our school board, of what the process is going to be. I think Kevin, what's going to happen here is nobody wants to take the blame. Nobody wants to get the finger pointed to. So we did come up with a plan. I believe that plan's going to go to the board tonight, and they'll let us know if it's going to be able to happen or not. They're just trying to play it safe, Kevin. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because I know UIL's put a lot of restrictions and a lot of things that we can and can't do. You know, the sanitizing part and the cleaning part and the percentages of kids that can be in the weight room and outside. I mean, it's very difficult for us. So as of right now for Hidalgo, they put a stop to it. So hopefully next week we can get something going.
And Oscar, for you, you know, being that you're still playing the game, did your school reach out to you, or your coaches reach out as far as being able to stay in shape? Did they send you workout programs?
Yeah. I mean, right now, you know, I'm in the mornings going to work out, playing a little bit of catch, you know, trying to stay in shape. And yeah, we got our routines, we got our strength and conditioning programs. So I'm still, you know, trying to stay in shape, trying to get better, and see what happens.
And Oscar, you're the oldest of the bunch here. You graduated in 2015. Danny, 2016. Raul, you're the baby, 2017. But we're gonna wind back the clocks just a bit and go back to the 2015 year, and it's that was the year you guys made it all the way to the region final. You know, and that was a big year for baseball in the Valley, a big year for Hidalgo baseball. You know, in football, you know, when we talk about the great teams that were, you know, the 2011 Cardinals, the 2018 Mission Vets, you know, those PI teams from the 90s or 2012 when they went four deep, the common thing that they all went four deep. You look at baseball, you look at, you know, Harlingen South, or when I was in high school, 2007, they made the state championship. You guys right up there making the Elite Eight, you know, Pioneer last year making state, Sherryland High making the region final. You guys are right up there with it in that 2015 team. Looking back at it, guys, at the beginning of the year, Coach, was there some sort of special feeling, you know, when the season, day one, when the season started, or was there any kind of special message you gave to the kids?
I'm not gonna lie to you, I was being the devil's advocate here. I know when my very first year there, we had gone to the Sweet 16, you know, and the following year, you know, we still had Oscar coming up. I believe that Raul was an eighth grader at the time, and Danny was a freshman. You know, they didn't even rank us that going into the 2014 year, right? So we ended up playing baseball 2014 and all, and we ended up going to the Elite Eight in 2014. So going to the 2015 year, you know, I didn't think very high of them putting us up there. And I remember heading to coaching school, and the conversation came up. You know, I like to take all my staff to coaching school, and one of the coaches brought it up, and he just said, "What do you think? You think they're gonna put us up there somewhere?" And I know I was just thinking the worst case, right? So I just kind of said, "I think we'll crack the top 25." That's what I really thought. You know, and some coach said, "Nah, I don't think they're gonna rank us and this and that." I said, "You know what? I think it's better if they don't rank us. That way it doesn't get to our head or anything like that." Well, showing up to coaching school, right? And there's this magazine that comes out there for Texas high school baseball. And Josh Pratt, who is our director of 4A, right? He was looking at me, and he was looking at me with a very strange face. And I was like, "Hey, what's going on, Josh?" And he just kept staring at me like with his eyes this big and stuff. And again, me being the worst, you know, just thinking the worst, I opened up that page and I started from the bottom up. So I went 25, 24, and we're not even there. And I'm thinking, oh man, well, top 20, right? So I went from 20 to number 10, and we're not there. So I almost closed the book. I almost said, you know what? They're not even going to think about it. I said, well, which is fine. That way they don't think very high about us. And then Josh goes, no, finish reading the coach. He knew that I was going from the bottom up. And all of a sudden I see Hidalgo Pirates number 1, Kevin, and I couldn't believe my eyes. We were preseason ranked number 1. It's just the pressure. And I was like, holy moly, man. I couldn't believe it. My staff too, we're all shocked that we're ranked number 1. Going back into that year, you know, Alan Wilburn, which was our number 2 pitcher behind Oscar, well, he hurt his arm. So it seems like everything was you know, going down for us. You know, Raul was barely going to be a sophomore. You know, Danny was going to be a junior that year. So Danny wouldn't pitch for us. Danny played center field for us. And I'm thinking, man, the pressure for us was so big, right? Everybody was going after us. Everybody was throwing their number 1 at us. And I said, and you know, we were here just trying to just stay alive one game at a time. So, but you know, and not only that, the other issue that we had, Kevin, was that Raul and Danny played basketball, you know, and we didn't get them. You know, at first it was just, we're very, very, very basic. We did have Oscar, right? But we had nobody else, you know, backing them up there, you know, early in the year until the basketball kids came around and stuff. So it was no walk in the park, Kevin. You know, it took us a while to get going. And once we did, you know, we're really good, Kevin.
And for you guys, you know, coming into that year, when you guys saw that ranking, or did you even show them the ranking, Coach, or was it something that you kept?
The media got a hold of it, Kevin, and it exploded. You know, Channel 4, Channel 5, they wanted to make stories on us, and you know, it went out of control, Kevin. So us coming back from coaching school, I remember showing up that first day on Monday, and it seemed like the whole world already knew, Kevin. It exploded, man.
Yeah, and as players, what's y'all's reaction to that? Was it like Coach said, like, wow, okay, like, you know, surprise, shocked, or added pressure, or how did you guys first feel that, Daniel?
I mean, I didn't even find out through Coach. It was like he said, the media. I found out in the classroom. Some student had approached me with the phone and said, "Hey, have you guys seen this? Have you seen where you're ranked?" And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I didn't even know they were doing ranking right now. And he showed me we're number 1. And I mean, coming back from the previous year, they didn't rank us like Carrasco had said. They didn't rank us before. I mean, we were a bunch of new kids coming in. So I didn't think we were going to get that much of a praise of what we did last season. So I didn't expect it at all. But it was a big thing because I knew that everybody's going to look at us. I knew everybody's going to throw. They were going to give us all we got. So it was kind of tough on that mentality going through the season.
Raul?
I really wasn't expecting much either, like Coach said, because like who would expect someone like Hidalgo to get ranked, especially number 1? So I wasn't really expecting anything like that, especially not 1, maybe ranked, but not 1. Like I had never heard like anything of that like from Hidalgo. So I wasn't really expecting it. Once I found out we were number 1, I mean, to me, I really take it like anything. I just said it was a ranking, like that ranking can change like any second or anything. So it was like, all right, we're number one, but we still gotta keep fighting for like to stay up there on those rankings.
Oscar?
Yeah, like Raul and Danny said, we were not expecting that. And I mean, even coming off of a good year, that it was 2014 that we went to the Elite Eight that coach mentioned. We were not expecting, or we were not looking to be the number one team in Texas. I mean, that was the goal, but we were not expecting that. And when we found out, it was like okay, this is this real now. We gotta keep working. We gotta show what we're made of. And you know, it was nice feeling knowing you were, you know, the number one team in the state.
Yeah, and I was looking through y'all's schedule earlier, and you guys got off to a hot start that year. And coach, if I'm correct, I have it here 19-5 that year. You can remember more or less. I think there was a few games missing.
Yeah, well, I don't think you're adding the playoffs there, Kevin. I think we ended up going 27-6, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we ended up, I believe.
Yeah, there were some games missing here on the score. So yeah, the math sounds right. But going back to the regular season, when that year, you guys obviously we go through the non-district portion of the season. You guys go through multiple tournaments. When was it that year when you guys said, aha, like maybe that number one ranking is holding true. We are this good and we can do something special. Was there a turning point in the year for you guys that like I said, that brought that to reality?
I think there, Kevin, for me, once we got the basketball kids back and once they got into baseball mode, because it takes them a while to get going, right? I think I said, okay, we're gonna be really, really good. And just like little things, like as a coach that I would see, like our lineup. I remember having a lineup and it was righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty. So all the problems that we gave them, and I mean, all the kids in our lineup were great runners. Any of these guys here that are on right now with us, I mean, we knew that if they get on, they were going to steal bases like crazy, and especially had a lefty covering the catcher, it was automatic, and that's when I can tell. I said, you know what, we're really going to be really, really good. I got stories about all these kids, but I'll tell you one that happened there in that 2015. So, and I'll tell you stories about all these kids, right? But I'm going to tell one right now about Oscar. So, there's this tournament that I like to go to, and it's the Callan tournament, and it's no joke. It's a tough tournament that we go to right every year, and I know Coach Chapman. He's not dumb up there. I know how he does things, right? So he tends to match teams to where they can be a pretty good game, and you want to play Thursday night at 7 p.m. You want to play Friday night, 7 p.m. So what a coincidence. The 2014 year, Kevin, we lost to Sinton, and Sinton ended up going to state that year. And it was a pretty good game, pretty good series. We ended up losing that one. So going into 2015, Friday night at 7 p.m. at Cal Allen Steve Chapman Field, it was Hidalgo against Sinton. And I believe at that point, we were ranked like number 2. I think we had dropped down to the rankings, Kevin, to number 2, I think. And Sinton was number 3 or number 4. So I had told the kids that I had gotten the schedule, but I didn't tell them who we were going to face yet because I needed to plan it all out. So Oscar comes into my office, and Oscar goes, "Hey, Coach, can I see the schedule?" And I didn't want to show it to him, but he was a senior. I said, maybe he can handle it, because some kids can't handle it, Kevin. They get scared. They see names like that, and they can't handle it. So Oscar comes over and he says, "Let me see the schedule, Coach." So I think, okay, he's a senior. He's going to be able to handle it. So I show him our roster, who we're going to play. So he sees Sinton Friday night at 7 p.m. So he goes, "Coach, I'm going to get the ball there, right?" And I just kind of told him, like, you know what, Oscar, I haven't even looked at it yet. I haven't even planned it out. I just got it today. I haven't even planned out who's going to pitch where or what. He's like, no, coach, I'm going to get the ball, right? And I said, give me a good reason why I should give you the ball. He goes, because they owe us. We should have beaten them last year. So he walks out, and one of my coaches is there with me, and my coach goes, so you're going to give him the ball? I said, what are you going to do to a kid when he comes up to you and tells you that? I said, what do you want me to do? Tell him no? So I remember showing up to the Cal Island, and Sinton was pretty good that year too. I mean, they were really, really good. And Oscar threw a no-hitter against Sinton, and it was more about, getting after it. It was like more of a payback, and he threw a no-hitter. I think we beat him like 8-0 or 9-0, something like that. Oscar threw a no-hitter, but I remember that game was very neat because they're at Steve Chapman Field. There was about 10 or 12 scouts there. And driving back Saturday afternoon from that tournament, my phone just kept ringing. There was all these scouts that were looking at our kids. And grateful to say that, everybody down the middle, and I mean, I can give you names, but like I got Mike Alvarez, we got Raul, Espinoza, we had Dylan Doherty, Oscar, everybody down the middle. They ended up playing at the next level, so the kids, when it was time to compete, it was time to compete that year. And that's what I enjoyed about being around these kids. It was very, very special that year.
Oscar, walk us through that game. And was there just a different switch that you flipped that night? Or obviously you had already had that game planned in your head once you saw the schedule. So you had some time to kind of to marinate just a little bit. But let's start with the night before the game. What was that like for you, if you can remember that far back, and just kind of how you were preparing yourself?
Well, I remember being a little anxious, about getting the mound and facing them, but calm myself down. I remember when I went to bed really early, around 9:30. Even though it was a night game, I wanted to rest. So next day, I remember I woke up early, like really early, 7:30, something like that, and I was anxious. I was just ready to go. So whenever we got to the field, uh, I saw them, and all these memories from last year, from 2014. That it was in the same field whenever we lost against them, and they advanced to a state tournament. So I was ready to go. Same field, same team. I was like, okay, this is I gotta be on tonight. I gotta be on. And like coach said, I think I threw a no-hitter, had like 15, 16 strikeouts, something like that. I was dealing that night, and it was just, I felt like I had to do that for my team, not for myself, for my team, because in a way I felt like I let them down that 24 year because I couldn't finish it. So I was like, okay, I gotta come out tonight. I gotta show them, I'm still here and we still here. And thank God the outcome, it was really good.
And it seems like if it was not only, a statement from you, Oscar, but a statement from Hidalgo saying that, hey, like you said, hey, we're still here. We're gonna be around come May and June. How about, Daniel, for you, what stories maybe stick out to you that 2015 year?
I mean, there's a lot. The one that does stick out is probably first district game of 2015. We were, Raul already knows what I'm talking about. We did so good in the preseason, and we were ready for district, and we were already thinking undefeated and thinking about playoffs and stuff like that. Well, first district game we played against Rio Hondo at our home, and we ended up losing. So we ended up going 0-1 in district, and that was pretty much the wake-up call that we're talking about, that saying like what was the point where we had to draw the line. And I think that was, after the game, everybody was just very mad. The locker room was super quiet. But that was a point where we had leaders step up and say, like, it doesn't matter if we're, ranked number one. It doesn't matter if we're this good against other district teams. I mean, Anybody can beat us. It's a team sport. I mean, baseball. There's, I mean, a little underdog can beat a big dog no matter what in any game. So that was the thing. And it took a toll, but the rest of the games had gone by, and we were run ruling every team. So it was a good wake up call, and I'm glad it was a glad thing that happened, because who knows if we would have gone undefeated, we probably think too high of ourselves, and playoffs may have gone a different way. But that was pretty much the big story that kind of stood out.
Hey, Danny, sorry to interrupt, Danny, but I don't want to burst your bubble. But that wasn't the 2015 year. That was your senior year.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Oh,
I
my
picked
bad.
the first game. I don't remember losing that game. Come on.
Well,
that was your senior year, Danny.
that was a while ago, man. I
That
can't.
was 2016. Sorry.
Whoops. Big mess up.
No, you're good. You're good. Still a good story. Well, if you can think of one, maybe from that 2015, while we chat with Raul here, if you can think of one, you can know.
I remember.
Go back to you. Raul, how about you?
Don't mess up.
I know. Well, coming off that year, like the previous year, I don't know.
I'm gonna add a story here, Kevin,
Sure.
on Danny real quick.
Sure.
It had to do with that 2015 year. So I believe his senior, that junior year, I believe they made a little run in basketball. So I got him kind of late. So when he came back in here, well, I don't like to throw him out in the fire that fast. I like for them to get rolling little by little, put them here and there, right? And it just so happened that we were already going to start district that following week after I got Danny. And usually for the basketball kids, I keep them out a week. They'll practice with us, get them back baseball mode, and then I'll get them rolling, right? So I put Danny out to start. And I think, I don't know where I put him. I don't know if he was our top of our lineup or bottom of the lineup. But one of the coaches questioned me and said, "Hey, you're going to put him out there already? I thought you can let him roll in." He did not know, and the basketball coach didn't know that as basketball season was still going on, Danny was coming on his own with his dad to the cages and hitting, right? So I knew that Danny was going to be in baseball mode once he came. So we were already going to start district, and then I put Danny on the lineup to start. And coach is like, "Hey, you going to put him on already? Is he ready?" I said, "Yeah, he'll be ready. He's already a junior. He should be ready to go." And they kept questioning me, "Are you sure, coach, you're going to put him in?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to put him in. It's my final decision. I'm going to put him in." And then I remember, I'm not sure if it was his first at bat or his second at bat. He steps up to the plate. And if you can look at Danny in high school, he's small right now. Danny was probably about 130 pounds in high school. And that's because he, with full uniform, he was about 130 pounds. He wasn't very big. And I remember I think it was second at bat. He took a shot because he's a lefty. And he hit it out over right field. And our field is very hard to get it out. Wind blows in. I think right field is like 330. Left field is 315. It's very hard. And Danny got it out. It went foul ball, but he got it out.
I was about to tell you. I was like, I don't think I hit a home run. It was foul ball, coach.
Yeah, it was a foul ball. I know it was a foul ball. So I came out, and that coach tells me, "Hey, did you see Danny?" I said, "Yeah, the one that you said wasn't ready to play. Now you question me that he's ready to play." So that was a pretty neat little story there about Danny getting it out.
Yeah, we got some shots here of Danny, if we can pull him up here. Okay, there he is.
Hey, I knew the camera was there. That's why.
But yeah, so you guys go through the season, and like you said, you guys are run rolling teams. When you get to the playoffs, coach, there's such a thing as teams playing up to your level, and obviously you guys were on another level that year. It's hard, in my opinion, when I'm looking at it from the outside in, it's hard to go through the season and run roll everybody, and then once the playoffs comes, you have to flip that next switch, and then you're no longer going to be run rolling people, but the games are going to be a lot closer. The competitive level is going to rise how do you guys prep for just flipping that switch, or how did you guys prep for flipping that switch when it came playoff time?
You know what, Kevin? Glad you asked that question because I've noticed all these throughout the year, Kevin. One thing I've noticed with our teams is that toward the end of district, maybe like with 2 or 3 games left in district, like these teams, like the 2013 team, the 2014, the 2015, I knew that with like 3 games left in district, we would take it up another notch. And I know that we were rolling very, very high going into the playoffs. And once that team got going, Kevin, I mean, there were 10 run rolling teams in the playoffs, and one thing that I enjoyed, and I never told the kids this, but one thing I enjoyed, Kevin, about these group of kids, because they stayed together for about 3-4 years. I never told them this, but one thing I enjoyed in practice with them is everything that we did, Kevin, was they were competing. It could have been, we have a little trail where they would go run. It's about 2.5 miles, 3 miles. Nobody likes to run it. But this group of kids, whatever we did, if we're running, or we're in the weight room, or we're catching ground balls, or we're hitting, it was always competitive. So among themselves, they kept themselves in check, and that's when I knew that we were going to be okay, because one thing I'm big on, Kevin, is I enjoy throwing BP to them. I enjoy throwing BP, and we get after it, and if it's with the machine or it's with me. But this group of kids, my 1 through 9 that year, our lineup, all of them can hit it out of the park. And in practice, it was fun. The ball kept flying over the fence, and I knew rolling into the playoffs, and when we peaked there toward the end, that's why I kind of felt bad for the teams in our district, especially if you're like our last 3 home games or whatever, because God bless, man, the bats were rolling, and going into the playoffs, that's how we got rolling.
Yeah, you guys on the same page with that? As far as, when you guys started to click, it was clicking at the right time going into the playoffs?
Yeah, it was fun practicing with all these guys. I mean, like Coach said, it was always a competition in practice with the runs and the weightlifting and stuff like that. During BP, we would call each other out and say, like, I'm gonna hit it your way and you better catch it or stuff like that. So it was always fun competing with these guys, because we knew that if we did that during practice, I know we would all go to battle together in the field. And it was a very fun season, just because we were a big family. We competed together. We were friends on and off the field, and it was a good experience with these guys.
And Oscar, on the mound for you, the dominant season that you had, was that your mentality? Just coach, give me the ball, I'm gonna go out there and get you that win.
Yeah, Danny should remember that, every time I was about to pitch, I was like, Danny, I'm not losing this game. And then next game I was like, Danny, I'm not losing this game.
Every single time.
And then it got to a point where I was like, you know what, Danny, I'm not losing any games this year. But yeah, that was my mentality, when I was out there in the mound, compete, dominate, get ahead in the count, hit my spots, don't fall behind the count, all of that things. And, whenever I was not feeling myself or something, like whenever I felt like I was not on, I try to find some ways to still, come out on top. And I think that's what helped me a lot. And, also, when things didn't go my way, I think it helped me a lot keeping my composure and not get into my head. That helped me a lot and keeps helping me until today.
So you guys get into the playoffs, and you guys, obviously, it ends in the Elite Eight, but I saw your coach. Some coaches like to go a series, some like to go one gamer. What's your take on that? specifically with this season, because me personally, I feel some teams are built for a series, some teams are built for a one gamer. We saw a little bit of both in this playoff run.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, I got a lot of advice from coaches that I trust, and they were telling me like, hey, coach, you can't lose it, man. You got to get series in, get it in. And I was like, you know what? You're right. So I was very, very bad with flips. Some luck, Kevin. It's horrible. And I've done it all. I've gotten theories, I've gotten all these special coins or whatever. I'm horrible, Kevin, horrible with the flips. Thank God that David Duty, which was our athletic director, he always did the flips because he had some kind of luck, right? So I'm going to tell you a little hiccup we had here, Kevin. So going into the second round, right, we're going to play Bernie.
Right.
That's a
And
tough game.
I had sent out a scout, right, one of the guys I trust, and he comes back and he tells me, hey, coach, you should be all right, man. You should be able to take him. So I told him, okay, what do you think, series or one game? He goes, a series. I said, okay, perfect, series. So we ended up flipping. David Duty called the flip, and we got a series. Well, going up there, Kevin, Friday night or Friday afternoon, we got a whole bunch of rain, man. We're going to play at Toloso Midway. And it does well. That drains very, very well there.
Uh-huh.
So I said, you know what? Let's just try to get the game in because I don't want to play a one-game series. And we stayed there. We went to the field. I got down, and it didn't look very good, Kevin. So then I got a hold of their coach, and he's like, you know what, coach? Let's play a one-game series. And I said, what? He goes, yeah, one-game series. And I was like, okay, well, one game it is, right? So I felt very confident because my scout told me, hey, coach, you should be all right. Well, shoot, Kevin, we come back, dude, and I see Bernie, and I mean, I think they could probably eat us, Kevin. They were like 6'3", 6'4", good-looking baseball kids. The guy that threw in the bump, he was high 80s. I mean, he had us dominated, and they took the lead, Kevin. And I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I was like, it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. And we stayed in it. And for some odd reason, Kevin, and I still can't figure it out to today. And I've seen the coach. I'm just afraid to ask him because I think he'll just say something that I don't want to hear, right? But for some odd reason, he took his pitcher out. And I believe at that point, they were beating us 4-1. It was maybe like the fourth or fifth inning. They yanked him. For some odd reason, the guy was on cruise control, Kevin. I mean, we were not doing anything to that kid. He yanks him, puts his number 2, and then here come the Pirates, and here go a little hit here, a little hit, stolen base, and pass ball, and then all of a sudden we tie the game. And then on the bottom of the sixth, top of the sixth, Alan Wilburn hits it out of the park, and we take the lead the first time in the game. And then we come back in the 7th inning, we're up to 3 outs. And Oscar comes in and shuts them out, and we advance. I don't know how we did it, Kevin, but we got out of that series, and we got very lucky. Very, very lucky.
Coach Duty actually commented earlier. He was watching. He says, all ballers wish them great futures.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Coach Duty was tuning in earlier. I'm not sure if he still is, but so I'm going to bring up so here's the playoff bracket from that year. You mentioned there's the 5-4 game against Bernie.
Yes.
And then you guys turned right around and you guys beat Rockport Fulton.
Yeah.
And then Brazosport. Of these games, which ones, obviously before the Elite Eight, which one of these games here in between, once you start talking third round, Sweet 16, when it was kind of like, man, like we are feeling really good about ourselves. We are playing our best baseball. What series was it? Was it the Rockport series? Or was it the Brazosport series? What series did y'all feel that came about?
For me, Kevin, we already earlier that year in the Catalan tournament, we had already played Rockport Fulton. So us facing them in the third round, we felt very good because we already had a scouting report on them and we already had filled in for them. So we already had a feeling for them. We already knew how what they were going to throw at us. We were ahead of the game a little bit. They were tough too. They were really, really, really good too, and we were able to get out of that one. What else was going to say? The Brussels-Port series was also pretty neat. Some story that I can tell you about Brussels-Port there, Kevin, was I was a little hesitant about them because we were going to play at St. Mary's Stadium, which I already had seen it. The ballpark was beautiful, one of the best I've probably ever seen there at St. Mary's. So one thing that I got away with, Kevin, was I was able to convince our administration and our athletic director for us to leave a day before.
Mhm.
So we showed up there Thursday night, I believe. We show up. We had practice Thursday. We went to school on Thursday. We had practice that day. And we just got on the bus and we took off to San Antonio. I know we got there early in the morning, but what I did with them, because I had a feeling that these kids were going to freak out with the stadium because it's unbelievable, Kevin. The St. Mary's Stadium, it's to kill for. So one thing we did was, we had breakfast Friday morning, and right before we went to lunch Friday morning, I took them to the baseball stadium, and we stayed there about a good hour. And we sat down in the bleachers because they had, they got fantastic facilities there. We walked the field, sat in the. I think that just took the nerves out. So we showed up Friday night. Later that day, I think our team was real calm and collective. We're just ready. We're just waiting to start the game. And I think that was a plus about that because Brussels-Port was also no joke, Kevin. They were a very good ball club.
Yeah, and you guys beat them 2-0, then 13-4.
Yeah.
And then that punched y'all's ticket to the region final. And then that's when we get to the El Campo series. And guys, when did you guys reach the region final, Elite Eight for a second straight year? Going back to which Coach started off with the story was, let's just not be in the rankings. He was playing devil's advocate that, just kind of just trying to stay humble. When you guys got back to the Elite Eight, what was that feeling like for you guys as players?
Well, I'm gonna take this one. Even though we were there the year before, it was still an unbelievable feeling. Being the last team in the RGV still playing baseball at that time, it was something special. But it was still at the same time. How can I say? It was a great experience. Even though we experienced it the year before, it was a great experience just for the fact that the year before, we were this close to advancing to the state tournament. So this year we were hungrier and we were ready to go. We were gonna leave it all out in the field. But we were ready, and things just didn't go our way. But it was a nice experience.
Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, what Oscar had mentioned about the year before, we were really hungry for this one, and I mean, we were confident. We got to the stadium, or we got to the field. You always take a look at how they do in and out and stuff like that, and you get a feel of their talent and stuff like that. So we felt that we were confident in the team that we were, how we were going to approach this game. I mean, we wanted this bad. We wanted to go we want to be a part of the Harlingen South talks and a part of going into state. But I mean, we took it inning by inning. We noticed that I mean, they were hungry too. They're a good ball club too. I mean, they're giving us everything we got. Their pitcher was a really, really good. I mean, we were battling back and forth, but unfortunately we couldn't get the edge on them. But it was a good experience. Obviously, we didn't get the outcome we wanted, but it was a good season. It was fun. Yeah.
Raul?
Nah, just going back to that Elite Eight, it was an unbelievable feeling, like knowing that we did it back to back in like 2 straight years, and then we were like how Oscar said, that we were the last team. We had fans from pretty much everywhere in the valley, they were all going to go see us play. Even my dad had told me that one of the players from Brazil Sports, like,
Yeah.
I guess they liked how we played, and they were even there. Like, they went to that game to go see us play. And he was talking to my dad, and he said that he doesn't like, he can't believe it that we actually lost to El Campo, like, that we were a way better team than them, but it just didn't go our way that year. But we were hungry for, like, we knew we could have gone to state that year, but it just didn't go our way. Like, that game just didn't go our way.
And what
Yeah,
was go ahead.
real quick, actually one of Brazil Sports players uh, plays with me at the university, and whenever we go down play in San Antonio, we drive by the St. Mary's Stadium, and I'm just like, hey Mike, do you remember? He's like, stop, man, stop. Every time.
Nice. And what was special about that year was that you guys were up at the Elite Eight, and San Benito girls softball was at the state tournament that same day. They were at their second state appearance because they had won in 2013, and they were playing softball that same day up in Austin. So that was really a big day for the Valley and for the Valley sports in general. It was just Hidalgo and San Benito.
Yeah.
Coach, I think I texted you the other day that I got the notification, the Facebook notification, that it was 5 years ago on June 6th.
Correct.
Just 2 days ago, guys. It was 5 years ago when you guys played that game against El Campo. Looking back at it now, Coach, where baseball is at from there, even from when Danny Godora was at South in 07, but more recently, you guys in 2015, within this decade, to what Pioneer did last year in Sherryland, because they were also in the region final. Where do you feel baseball is at in the Valley?
I think we're getting there. We're very, very close of possibly getting to the state tournament and winning it, Kevin. I know no Valley team has done it yet. I think we're right around the corner. I think our kids are starting to believe that we can play with the Corpus area and the San Antonio area. I know some teams, some kids even get scared because that's the capital of baseball, the Corpus area. And I think some of the Valley kids nowadays, they're not afraid of them anymore. And now with all this travel team that's going on, they see them. They see kids from Moody. They see kids from Calallen. They see kids from Sinton. They play with them in their travel teams and stuff. So I think it's more these kids are taking more initiative of it and saying, you know what, let's go make a run for it, which it's pretty impressive.
And last year, it's funny you bring up the Corpus area. Last year in the playoffs, the Valley swept the Corpus area out of playoffs.
Yep.
In 5A and in 4A. So that was definitely a big step in the right direction for Valley baseball. Before we wrap up, guys, and anything else you guys want to add on maybe that day of the region final, maybe the bus ride home, was it just kind of you guys left everything out there on the field? You guys felt, that you guys did everything you could?
Yeah. The best bus ride home was after that Bernie game. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, what Oscar had mentioned, I remember it now, that whenever he told me that he was on the bump and whenever he was going to go in, he told me that he's not going to lose this game. He's not going to lose this game, or he's never going to lose any other game in the rest of the season. I remember that inning that we had came back, we were down 3 runs and we were down to our last 3 outs. I think it was top 7 or something around there. But I went in because I was going to be leadoff, and I went straight up to Oscar and another player, Adrian, and I told him, I was like, we're not losing this game. I'm going to get on base and we're going to win this game. And sure thing, I don't know how, I don't know what I did. I hit a dead center to a 400 foot. I don't know why I was 120. I don't know why that happened. But I got a triple. I mean, we came back and it was crazy because this team was very, very special, and it was an unbelievable experience.
Oscar, the mentality you have about saying, the story of you going to Coach Carrasco, asking for the ball and telling Danny that, hey, like, I'm going to get the ball and we're not going to win, or we're going to win. We're going to win every game that I pitch. You know Bob Gibson?
Yes.
You're familiar with Bob Gibson? 1968, he had the year of the pitcher. And then he told the guys that half of that plate is mine. Now you, the hitter, have to find out which side I'm coming after. So I think that mentality kind of just flows in with your mentality, Oscar, and how you took the mound and you just had that bulldog mentality, and that obviously flowed, and your guys here, Raul and Danny, fed off of that. And was that what that like, guys? You, knowing that your pitcher had the confidence, said, "Hey, let's go out there and do this."
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, every time Oscar was on the bump, I thought he wasn't. There was no one going to score on us. That's what I believe, because I mean, he had that confidence in him. I mean, I played with the guy. He mentored me as a little. I mean, I was in JV freshman year, and I'm coming up into sophomore year. I was kind of intimidated, but this guy was a good mentor, and he really helped me out. His shout out to his dad. His dad would keep me after practice and work on me in the outfield to get my mechanics better and my throwing mechanics on point. So it was a good. I mean, we were one big family, and nobody was. I mean, obviously we would joke around with each other, but nobody would bring each other down. We would always pick each other up. So that was the thing about this team, and Oscar was a really good mentor on me coming up and on there, and I always had his back because he always had ours.
Yeah, one thing about my confidence and all of that, it came from them. Knowing that I was gonna have the offense behind me, knowing that I was gonna get the run support that I needed. It gave me more confidence to go out there and just compete, dominate. It made my job way easier. They knew that I had their back, but I knew they had my back. So it was just a teamwork. It was just a family. We made a really real good family. And whenever you ask that question about the trip back home after that game we lost against El Campo, I left with a bittersweet feeling. 2 years in a row, one game away from making the state tournament, felt like I let my team down again, and I couldn't, like that was it. That was it. It was over for me. But made really good friendships. Uh, enjoy the ride with these guys. It was fun. It was a great time. They're just experience that are gonna be with me for the rest of my life.
Raul, you like to add anything?
Yeah, just about the Karim, Oscar when he would pitch. Just knowing that when he was gonna be on the mound, and like I was behind the plate for all the games that he pitched during his senior year, it was just unbelievable. Like everything he would go out there knowing what he was gonna do. Like he said that we would make his job easier. He would make my job way easier too. I didn't have to worry about doing anything. Just putting my glove up, and I knew he was gonna hit the glove. So, but yeah, just that year was an amazing year, and that team was just we wouldn't never give up. To be honest, we never gave up to the end. Once we knew we couldn't do anything else, once the game was over, that's when we knew like we had to shut it down. But during the game, it was not like there was no one stopping us till we got that win.
Before we go, guys, Major League Baseball, that it's a baseball panel, we can't go without talking about the big leagues. I'm waiting for it to come back. I'm sure you guys are itching for it to come back. That way we can have something to watch. But where do you guys feel baseball is at, and with hopes of it coming back at some point this summer?
I mean, me wanting for it to come back. I mean, like I really do want it to come back, but with all like on Twitter and everything, I've been seeing that I don't know if there's gonna be a season this year. As much as I want one, I don't know if there's gonna be one. Everybody's been saying that the players don't want to agree to what they're saying, and the owners don't want to agree. So at this point, I mean, I really don't. I have no idea, but I really do want it to come back, though.
Who's your team, Raul?
The Boston Red Sox.
Heck yeah. Go Sox.
Oscar?
It might be weird, but I go for the Blue Jays. I know it has nothing to do, but I'll go for the Blue Jays.
It's always been weird. Never understood it.
That's cool. Hey, yeah, that's cool. Daniel, I know you are a Red Sox fan. You've made that public
Sir.
clear on Twitter, but where do you feel baseball is at right now?
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, for as long as I lived, I've never experienced a season where it just completely shut down. So I'm a big baseball fan. I love watching Major League Baseball. It doesn't even have to be Red Sox. I can turn a game on. I watch it all the way through. It's kind of hard because I had to cancel my Spectrum just because I thought I was going to watch all these games. But no, it's crazy. I hope it comes back. Part of me, little child in me, wants it to come back. It's always going to be like that, but we'll see. I hope it does.
Funny story on the Red Sox is, growing up, the Astros were always in the National League, and growing up playing Little League baseball, I was always on the Red Sox, always on the Red Sox. So I have a soft spot for the Red Sox. So they were always my American League team, and then the Astros were always my National League team. But if I ever had to draw a line in the sand and say my allegiance is to, it has to be the Astros because that's just the team I grew up loving. But I've been to Fenway. I've been to Fenway Park, and that was amazing. We got to see Big Papi. He hit a grand slam, and they lost to the Tigers that day. And then in 2017, Boston came to Houston, and I took my sister there as a graduation gift. So we got to see David Price and got to see the Red Sox again. But Astros, obviously, that's where my allegiance lies, of course, in the background. But Coach, how about you? Where do you feel baseball's at?
Kevin, I'm just gonna go base it on how UIL did it with us. In my opinion, I think they all got to be in the same page, because if you have teams that are not on the same page, they're just gonna shut it down for the safety of the players and for the organization and stuff. Like with us, with schools not wanting to open up and this and that, and because they don't want to take the blame, they're just gonna stop it all. And I think that's exactly what's gonna happen with Major League Baseball. I don't see it happening like what the NBA is gonna do, where only certain teams can get in. I don't think the MLB is gonna do that. I think the MLB is either they all go in or we all don't play it. And
Right.
As of right now, I don't think they're on the same page. I think there's a lot of bickering going on in between them. And as long as that goes on, I don't see it happening this year, especially with what happened to us in NCAA and high school baseball. It's going to be very hard.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because the main thing is the financial side.
Correct.
Guys like Garrett Cole and Mike Trout, where players like that might not even play this year because of the money. And I can understand it, but then I at the same time, it's like, just go out and play. But guys like Garrett Cole, who I don't like these days, but whatever. The guy, a guy like that works his whole career to get that big paycheck, and you finally get it. And something as unprecedented as this comes about, not the player's fault that there might not be any season, but I'm hoping for there to be a season. And I know I was reading that they were saying that it could bleed into June, the first week of June. We're here now in the first week of June, and we're still not seeing any progress. Eventually, you kind of got to start to put up a red flag and say, when's the deadline to get something done? Hopefully it's soon. But Coach, who's your team?
Sad to say, man, I hate the Yankees, so I'm a Red Sox fan as well, man.
Oh, hey, that's cool.
Yeah, I do follow them. I follow the Astros. I follow the Rangers, but for some years now, it's been the Red Sox, man. Hate the Yankees. I'm sorry.
No, hey, no
The Rangers-
apologies. I hate the Yankees too.
We all do. I think everybody in this chat does.
Yeah, no, I am anti-Yankees. You guys play the show? You guys got a PS4?
Well,
Yeah.
if we can't watch, we got to play. I mean,
Right. Exactly. I'm on the same page right there. I'm playing the postseason mode. I'm playing the Dodgers right now in the World Series.
There you go.
So that's how I'm getting my baseball fix, and I'll play a little home run derby here and there. But maybe we'll get on sometime, play some online on the show.
oh yeah.
That would be fun.
Whoever wants, let's do it. Before we go, guys, any shout outs or any messages to your family, friends that may be watching?
No,
Josh, mom and dad, I know they're watching.
No, and I'm gonna add there, Kevin. Now that you say that, that 2015 year was very, very special. Made my job fun, and easy. Those kids and their parents and the whole community, it was fun to be around and to experience something like that. Talking about separation because of politics and this and that, but when it comes around baseball season, it was a blast seeing all these groups of people and the Valley, supporting and going with us. It was very nice to see that, and I hope I can get another round like that because it was something beautiful to see, Kevin. And it was nice to experience something like that. When then with these kids from Hidalgo, I mean, you look at these kids. I mean, Danny was 130, Oscar was about 140, Raul was 150. And it proves to the kids that you don't have to be 6'4", 6'5", 200 pounds hitting bombs. I mean, these kids did it, and that's one thing that I was very proud, and I thank these kids and their parents and everybody that supported us that year. It was one to remember, and I know I'm going to take that to the grave with me.
Any shout outs, Raul, Oscar?
To my brother and my dad, I know they're watching this, so shout out to them.
just a shout out to my family because they were always there pushing me to get better and stuff, help the team out.
That's
Definitely.
such a problem.
Definitely. Well, we're joined by Hidalgo skipper Karlos Carrasco, and then former Hidalgo Pirates Daniel Espinoza, Raul, Ortiz, and Oscar Noguera. Guys, thanks for joining the show and coming on here and chatting baseball and rekindling that 2015 year. And it was just the other day when, like I said, I saw that notification on Facebook that we were at that game in 2015. I was like, wow, 5 years ago already. So I text coach and I said, hey, well, let's get something going. Let's get some of these guys on here and let's go back and talk about that season.
Come on.
But all right, guys. Well, thanks for joining the show. Later today at 3, we're gonna have Coach Becky Woods from Los Fresnos joining us later today at 3. So, Coach Carrasco, Danny, Raul, Oscar, thanks for joining us, guys. You guys stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Y'all take care, boys.
All right.
Yes, sir.